All right, so welcome to my Friedrich Nietzsche lecture series. And today, at this point, I'm going to do an introduction to the video that I shot following this part at this setting today. I take a lot of videos as I voice over them in beautiful scenery. So you won't see my face after this. But when talking about Friedrich Nietzsche, I believe that he was a good cherry picker, right? And I'm a good cherry picker too. But it's when you cherry pick things, it represents a certain kind of value. The things that you value, you kind of know what type of person they are, right? But me, considering that I have taken over 100 philosophy classes in my life, I know what a lecture is, and I am giving my lecture, and they're going to be about an hour a video, okay? When I'm in class, right, when I'm in school, the typical class is an hour 15 minutes, and typically at my schools there's 16 weeks, right? And every week there's 2 classes for an hour 15 minutes, okay? So typically in a semester we get about 40 hours worth of lecture, right? Some of it is like administrative stuff about assignments and tests and questions like that. But in general, right, I am sitting in an hour and 15 hour lecture, right? And when you add that up, right, there's 32 classes, so 32 hours, and 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour. So a quarter of 32 is 8, so we're looking at 40 hours a semester, right? So if you were to sit in a semester of Nietzsche, you're gonna sit through about 40 hours with the lecture, okay? Me, I'm gonna have to cherry pick and make it a tenth of that, okay? Roughly a tenth, okay? I spend a couple lectures on getting you ready for Nietzsche, okay? And I'll give the outline in this video. But I want to say that when you do the math, 100 classes, 40 hours each, I sat in 4,000 hours worth of lecture, okay? And I have witnesses, my teachers are my witnesses. I sat in that many hours of lectures. So just considering the fact that there's probably nobody that you will see on your camera on YouTube making a video on philosophy in the world with this many hours. And with this many hours of absorbing philosophy lectures, I expect to be the best in the world. I'm gonna throw that out there because I would not be doing this to the degree that I do unless this was not the best shit, right? I'm still doing this, okay? But this one's like really, this one is more about the people, right? When I do the Kant lecture, which is on my YouTube channel, Kant 4 is the major one, that is recognized by me as something that someone put one of the best lectures, if not the best. I think it's the best lecture on the internet, okay? But it's hard to it's hard to like just be able to sit down and watch it, okay? And just take it as that, right? Because you have all this other stuff going on. But that is a philosophical contribution, the way I was able to show people how Kant thinks, how you're able to retain it, right? I left a form for people to hold on to, right? And it's probably still stuck with some people. And you can watch it, okay? If you're new to this video, to my videos, what I'm saying now is what kind of education that I got, which is rare. If you like philosophy, this is some heavyweight philosophy. I am putting it out for criticism, right? I wish people would criticize me. I would probably end a lot of careers if people in academics with PhDs from philosophy were to try to test me on my philosophy, right? I seriously am that good. All right, so enough about me. I'm gonna get on to all this Nietzsche stuff, and I gotta still introduce this video. And this video, it's an introduction to Nietzsche, but the next few videos, I'm not gonna mention Nietzsche, okay? But it's gonna get us ready for Nietzsche. And I need to say that before we start the other videos, okay? I think the next video might take like a month and a half. And then the ones after that will be quicker. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see the video, okay? In this video, I'm gonna smooth out the edges and I'm gonna let it run, okay? I choose a couple different settings. My face is not on there, so maybe it's not important, but you might want to listen, okay? You're gonna have to shift gears a couple times in this video, okay? The first place that I start the video is really like mellow. I'm just talking about some just about the world, I guess, about how the world has came to be, okay? And then what happens is the next one, it was like an hour later after I was driving, and I thought I kind of messed up. Not messed up, but I said the wrong word. And I want y'all to realize that I say the word natural a couple times in this video. But natural is the word that just comes to me first, and it's not necessarily the right words because it could get mixed up. And the second segment from the new setting, I kind of shift gears. It's kind of loud because you hear the traffic. It's at a theater in Boulder, Colorado. And so when you see the thing shift, you gotta shift your gears, right? I start getting into like some philosophy, right? I start talking about what I said in the first part about customs and traditions and how we get carried away. Okay, so I say that at Boulder's Theater. And then there was another day I started shooting to continue, right? And that is, it's just philosophy that it is kind of Kantian, okay? Like it's just kind of like just a couple lingering ideas about the Kant lectures, okay? And it ties into Nietzsche. And then I start talking about Nietzsche at that point. But I ended that video in a way that I didn't think I was gonna shoot anymore until I started thinking about it, okay? And then you got the other half of the video. The day after I was in Estes Park, the next set of videos is in Roxborough, okay? Roxborough State Park. And there, I was clarifying what I was saying at the Boulder Theater, right? But it's in a different setting, so you're gonna have to shift your attention. Like you might have to step back a little and let me just explain everything, and then when you take a look back at it, you will understand more, okay? In the last section, you'll see this same setting in a way, right? You'll see the same setting, and then I really get into Nietzsche. I'm gonna label this, Nietzsche's introduction, but if I had to put a caption on it, it's gonna be an introduction to resentment and reevaluation of values. Okay, that's in Nietzsche, and those are both two Nietzschean terms. Okay. All right. So with that being said, it's getting dark. It's twilight. In previous years on my Facebook, as I've been a Facebook philosopher, if there ever is one, I have always said that I wanted everybody's soul. Okay, soul is has always been a big and important topic to me. Okay, the soul. And a few years ago, I also said I wanted your mind, right? Before I did the Kant, or when I was doing the Kant videos, right? But the last segment of this video, at this setting, I am shooting for your fucking heart, right? This is for the people with fucking heart. You gotta have fucking heart to like really, really get Nietzsche. You gotta have the heart to do it, to like be able to focus, right? I need everybody to fucking like really focus, right? This is you're gonna watch this video. You're gonna probably sit on it for a while. But I already give you some type of Nietzschean perspectives, okay? Something that you could reevaluate, okay? So again, I mentioned the word nature in this video, and it kind of like, it wasn't the best word for me, but I took the next segment to reevaluate it, right? And then I took the word essence and I used the word natural again, and I didn't think that it was as valuable as I changed it again, okay? So this video, if you pay attention, by the end of it, you'll kind of get a gist of where we're going, okay? We're gonna change the things that we value, okay? So I hope y'all enjoy it. The next video is gonna be, I don't know, I'd say at most a month and a half, and then I'm gonna do 2 Kant videos. They're just reviews of my older videos that are on my Facebook. And by the time we're done with that, we're gonna be ready to do Nietzsche, because Nietzsche, he's the best, right? And Kant is the best, but they're the best in 2 different ways, and this is what I'm going to explicate, right? I say that Kant, okay, I will say that Kant was or performed a Copernican revolution, because he took the objective experience and the phenomena that's always changing to making the objective something that is not changing, right? It's like some type of rule-based, I can't say phenomena, but some type of noumena, right? Or something like that, okay? It doesn't even matter, okay? But it's not the objective experience and the phenomena. And when Kant puts us in the objective stance, the phenomena that's changing becomes the non-objective, okay? And Nietzsche does something which I say in the video. Okay, so, and also what I'm saying in the middle part where it's really loose, and philosophy can be taken loose when you can just take a little piece of it and separate it from other places, other pieces, right? And that's what I do in the middle of this video, right? And this is what I'm doing with the following videos. I said it's a Nietzsche introduction, but I'm gonna do Kant videos. I'm gonna do a Mino video, and then I'm gonna do the Nietzsche's introduction to the genealogy of morals, okay? And then I'm gonna do the genealogy of morals, and then I'm gonna do a couple subsequent videos, at least 4 or 5, right? So once I do the genealogy of morals, I expect to do, at the very, very least, 3 or 4 videos after that, okay? So expect to go for the long haul, but this should alter the world, right? If it were to catch on. So the next video, shift gears, be receptive on the first setting. The second setting, you kind of step it up a little. The third setting is a little hectic because I start talking about Heidegger. And then I try to clear up Heidegger. But, and then I get into Nietzsche, okay? So I hope y'all enjoy it. Remember, give me like a month and a half for the next video, Plato's Meno, to come out, okay? I explain why I did Plato's Meno in the video. Peace. One more thing. I had the option to just reshoot the whole video. It would have been like, I probably could have cut it down to like 30 minutes without all the sloppiness and all the loose ends. But I decided to stick with it, okay? Because then I'd lose all the scenery. And this is things that you can reevaluate, right? I could reevaluate everything I said and cherry pick the shit out of it and made it shorter. But this is a really good start, okay? All right, actually, there's one more thing, okay? Y'all remember the meditation series, right? And I was telling y'all to focus. Don't let any ideas distract you. What I want to say is this is on the internet, so if you get distracted, just press pause, rewind a little bit, and watch it again, right? I'm telling you, watch this video a couple times, watch all the videos a couple times. That's how you become good. I know, because that's what I do. I take the same classes over and over again. Okay? All right, it's been a while since I shot a video. And every time I shoot a video, it feels like there's always that first awkward minute. And when I take a break for a long time, there's an awkward first video. So like a real quick note, this is where I'm at, and it's called Rocky Mountain National Park. It's about 2 hours from Denver. You gotta park up at Bear Lake Trailhead, or Bear Lake Road at the end of it. And this lake is called Nymph Lake. It is only half a mile to get to, right? So I'm gonna let the sun set and then walk down with my flashlight, just a half mile. But I like driving. It makes me focus. Nature is like really old. It's I think that's what really draws me to nature. And in a way, the human being is drawn away from nature through like customs and like habits, right? We disconnect from ourselves, the natural selves. But just I think I would like to just challenge people to like feel your age, right? When you come out in nature, come out to nature to feel your age, and it's kind of awkward to even have time to like come out here and like just when you got like bills to pay and stuff like that. But just talking about your lifespan, that's like 80 years for some people. This will not change that much, right? This has been here for they say billions of years. Are you like, ask yourself, when people ask you how old you are, you're gonna say some type of number under 100, right? I mean, I've done it hundreds of times maybe. But we are, as far as we could see, and just as far, we are close. We are all that. The geography of Colorado is pretty interesting. So in the northern hemisphere, we have what you call North America, right? And in continental North America, there is, I think, around like 60 something points that break a plateau, a global plateau of 14,000 feet. And I think, ironically, there's one, I think Mount Shasta in California, and another which is Mount Rainier in Washington State, has a 14er. Then the rest of the 50, 60 or so 14ers are in Colorado, right? So these are the Rocky Mountains. We are the highest on this continent. Well, at least, at Mount Denali, I think Denali in Alaska is a 14er or a 15er. It actually might reach 15,000 or something like that, right? And it's just interesting that right when it passed 14,000, they all start dropping off. So I think all of them are under 14,500, and there's 60 peaks, I think, right? So you gotta think, right? Very important. You gotta think. But so this was all ocean one time, right? All this, we were all under the ocean, and the way the water kind of like broke down everything, I say maybe 200 to 400 million years ago, formed the way a lot of the rock, all the mountain areas in the world are, are doing their thing at the same time, right? Dinosaurs roamed 50 to like 100 million years ago. Like, just imagine, right? So imagine just going to the beach, right? And building a sandcastle near where the waves break and run up onto shore. And the waves come up and they slowly, I guess, wash away your existing structure, right? And these are like really hard structures. And the way I don't mind like talking about how the way I interpret how the world came to be. It's not really that controversial, and it shouldn't even be a theory. I think the education system should put more emphasis on how we are in terms of age-wise, and how do we deal with being this old. But from the beginning, there was this big explosion, right? And the first few nanoseconds of that explosion, all the fucking elements, a lot of elements of the periodic table were formed, because all these like electrons were flying around, and these protons and neutrons started rearranging itself into these different compound elements and stuff like that, right? Interestingly, there's carbon when it gets to like 6 or something like that. The way it's arranged, and there's like 6 protons, neutrons, or something like that. There's something about the carbon that is like has a consistent like clock tick, right? It's like a Rolex. The Rolex is good, some people say, because it ticks more than just a normal tick on every second, right? It might have like 4 ticks on a second, and they're saying that's what makes it accurate, right? I'm not like, I'm not I'm not gonna say I really know, but they say I assume the most consistent thing is the way the carbon molecule, or the carbon molecule, or is it an atom, or whatever, it radiates something that could be read, and inconsistent timing, right? So people are able to like tell you how old this stuff is, but we're like fucking really old, right? Like our consciousness is like fucking brand spanking new, at least the one where I could conversate with you on social media. Let's just look at that rock. But I'm just gonna leave it as that for now. All right, so I'm gonna continue the video. This is a different setting. This is Estes Park, Colorado. It's near Rocky Mountain National Park, where Nymph Lake is. It's probably 30 minutes away. But this is not in the actual park. Definitely one of the best hikes in Colorado. That's short. So going back to what I was saying when I was at Nymph Lake, I want to say a few things. And the first thing I wanted to say is I did say element instead of molecule at one point in the video, when I obviously meant molecule, because that wouldn't make sense, right? I want to say that I'm glad that people are critical of me, and I hope everybody caught that, right? One of the things that I want to do is make ourselves better at criticism, and I think it's an important, you don't have to say duty, it's just an important uh, thing that we should do as a society to help each other out, right? Not only that we should be able to criticize, but more importantly, maybe not more importantly, but very important, that we know what to criticize, right? We gotta know what to criticize. And that is a big problem, because what I was saying earlier at Niff Lake the other day, I was saying that we are natural being, but we get swooped up, or what's the word? I know the word, come on. Aesthetic, rapturing. There you go. But we get caught up in this aesthetic rapture, right? And Martin Heidegger says that we find ourselves in all this history, right? Like, at our present moment, if we don't think about it, we don't know anything about history. But when you sit there and just dig in, right, you start realizing, your connectedness to what he says is something more natural, right? Your original being, right? We're being connected to our original being. So we get swept up in traditions and customs, and these traditions and customs, they go against your own health, right? And I just want to say the word health the way people think of health, right? Just it makes you tired, and you do things that you don't want to do, right? I'm not saying that we don't like culture. There's just some things that we could do away with, right? I find myself writing and communicating with people, right? And every now and then I get people that say that I have bad grammar or whatever, but I am telling people something, right? And they're gonna get a message from it. And even if it isn't clearly to them, it's clear to me how I'm portraying the message for them to understand, right? They're trying to get you something trivial, right? And I am saying that people lack value on their judgment, right? This is real important. People lack value on their judgment on nearly everything, right? I'm asking a simple question. What is valuable? So, for the last 2 years, since I started shooting that Kant series, I introduced a philosophy that's pretty, I think, unique to me, where I emphasize about value. And Nietzsche was a philosopher of value. But he never really taught people like how to value things, right? He was just, I don't know. He was just doing Nietzsche. But I want to talk about value. Like, I've been talking about value, and I've added value to Kant, right? Nietzsche shies away from Kant in a way. One thing I will say is that Nietzsche looked a lot at Kant, and I think Nietzsche's seen what we see when we think about Kant, and he's seen that Kant's idea of philosophy has this whole objective thing, right? And Nietzsche, what he does is he says that he's doing the same thing, but he's valuing something different, right? So I'm going to use Kant for example to just kind of get a little better idea of what I'm saying. So when we figure out that if we were to hold pure causality to the side, right? It hands us something in a way, not like it's intentionally doing it. It kind of takes a little meaning of the mind, right? But if we were to deduct pure causality from everything, we're stuck with a certain kind of objectivity, right? And as a Kantian who studied Kant in academia more than anyone I know, or for the years that I did, Kant's objectivity is pretty fucking radical. It's Kant was fucking, he was a goddamn genius, you know, just to say frankly, you know, and I give him like all the praise on his intellect, right? But as an ethical standpoint, right, he writes books on ethics, groundworks, and metaphysics. What the fuck is the objective gonna do for our physical selves, right? I think heading towards that type of philosophy, we bankrupt another side of our lives, right? You could say, in a way, the phenomena, right? Some of our experience is based in the phenomena. So my definition of twilight over the years have kind of changed, and now the idea of twilight is, it just means the light that's below the horizon of a sunset, right? So here I'm in the twilight because the sun is has seen a set over the mountain, right? But what I do want to do before I get into Nietzsche, this is just like an intro video. I don't even know what I'm gonna name it. I'm having troubles thinking what I'm gonna name it. But I have a whole lecture series planned out. We'll see how it goes. I'll tell you guys the plan, but if I don't go by it, please forgive me. I want to do a Plato's Meno video, and then I want to go through Kant 1, 2 on one video, and 3 and 4 on another video. And then I want to do Nietzsche's, I think it was his preface of the Genealogy of Morals, which I kind of did today in a way. And then I'm going to do the Genealogy of Morals, and I hope to do all that by the end of the year. I think that's gonna end my first video. It's pretty short, but just expect like 1 hour videos or some shit like that. We'll see, but I want to do a Plato's Meno video. I might not do it. I might just sit and just shoot a Nietzsche video and get it over with. But the long route in my planning, I should try to do one step at a time. I'm gonna try to do a Plato's Meno video just to get that out of the way, and it's gonna be very useful for the rest of the stuff, politics, etc. That was a pretty good. I know it's like fucking. I'm a good lecturer. You gotta have faith in me. I compare myself to all my teachers that I've sat in. I'm decent, yo, as a lecturer. My mind is a lot different because of all the schooling that I've taken, and I think they understand that. And actually, this is a good time for me to say that I want to spare all my teachers, right? As I get more critical on academia. I would say we were like the same mountain, right? And I'm standing on the shoulder of giants. And I'm gonna criticize academics really hard eventually, I believe, by the time this Nietzsche lecture is done. And y'all should wish me luck. If you're Christian or Muslim, monotheistic, or any religion, y'all should pray for me. Atheists, you pray for me. Agnostic, pray for me for fun. I'm gonna put a lot of value on religion. I'm gonna clarify a couple things that I said earlier. And the first thing I'm gonna start with is when I said that Heidegger finds this in a natural mode or a natural way of seeing things, right? And I gotta say that our traditions and our habits, our customs and rituals, that is natural too, right? And we kind of want to separate that naturalness with an archaic, non-historical way of seeing things, right? And maybe without that history, if it's possible, I'm not saying that it's possible that we see it without history. If we are able to negate it, we find something more of our essence, right? Of part of our configuration that we gratify ourselves. The configuration is non-historical, but yet, in a way, the configuration is grounded in the phenomena. And I'm going to say that the essence in this term has to do with consuming, right? This is something that we need to do, right? I think there's been philosophers that have stuck on the other side of Kant when we split up what is practical from one side, the objective, to the other side, the phenomena, and the phenomena is not objective in the Kantian setup that I set up. When I say essence, it's different, right? On one hand, when I say essence, I think of the configuration, right? The configuration is of essence, right? And when I say that, I would say that the configuration without the alive essence, right? There's an essence of what it takes for us to be alive. that is different from just the bare essence of the configuration, right? It's ultimately the configuration's essence, right? And it is natural that things could be alive, right? The configuration, it gives, I don't want to say give like it's anthropomorphic, like it's giving, but it has what it takes, right? It has what life needs to exist, right? The universe does. So a lot of times in philosophy, people start off with their general experience, right? And here we're saying that our general experience has a basis of gratification, right? It doesn't have to be emphasized like it's in some type of order, like it's the first or most major thing. It's just part of it, right? The configuration. The best way to explain this is to look in Kant 4, right? And I talk about practical reason. And what I say about practical reason is that it has, in a way, two ends. One end is connected to the phenomena, pure gratification. And the other end, it is connected to the mental state, right? The gratification. We kind of need, like, I want to say, some type of effervescing, right? Like our gratification requires some type of maybe chemical exchange, but the configuration has the things that are needed to be capable to do these things. So the objective doesn't change, right? The rules, the objective rules of the way we exist, that doesn't change. But the phenomena changes, right? So I'm switching the objective over from something that is phenomenal, which is our objective experience, to something else, right? The objective is it's just unchangeable. Let's just start with that for now. Kant changes the objective reality from the phenomena to something else, right? And this is what I believe Kant says is a Copernican revolution, right? He changes the objective from the phenomena to the mental state, right? Nietzsche takes what Kant does and does a Copernican revolution, right? What he does is that he takes the phenomena and adds value to it. And that is what Nietzsche does that makes him so great. This video is probably going to be loud, so try to pay a little bit more attention. But I'm going to wrap up this video, I think, here. So yesterday, I was shooting the previous frames or segments of the video, and when I left, I got in a way pulled over and just harassed, you know. But it kind of threw me off because it was just like yesterday or the day before that when I started shooting this Kant video this weekend, Kant Nietzsche video. And then I was like, okay, my mind's starting to run, right? This video I was gonna cut it short after like the second segment, and I did another one, and here's maybe the last one. I didn't want to like just shoot a video for like 20 minutes and be like, just like a little teaser, right? I wanted to get everybody's minds running, right? And that's the goal of this video, and I still don't know what I'm gonna do now. I hope you guys heard all that. But so I do want to talk about what we were going to shoot in the next video, and one of my concerns in the series is my next video, right? I am concerned because people are wondering why I am doing Plato's Meno on my next video. And Plato's Meno is going to help understand what this segment is going to be about, because it's about being grounded. Okay. The way I'm going to explain it is, so these days I find myself like a child going through grade school again, and maybe not again, but just things in my grade school linger in my mind that I have access to, and I'm really resonating with these little things, right? Like me getting harassed yesterday by the police. Okay. One thing is, I remember just somewhere lingering in my mind that, that the government, the U.S. government, when you learn in this in like a civics class or something like that, like every year we take like a social studies or civics or some type of American history, revolutionary history, just some type of history class, right? Grade school, like pretty much every year. And they throw in like some of this stuff about rights and why we have our Bill of Rights, right? Things like we can assemble together and discuss things about the government that we dislike, right? That's one of those things that we learned as a little kid, right? It's somewhere lingering in all of our minds, right? As I kind of like make it relevant in the mind for you, right? Like, if you would have seen that video that I had yesterday about me being harassed, I know a lot of people are gonna say things like, you should have just fucking cooperated, right? And I swear to God, like, how did we go through school, right? Through all elementary and all that stuff, and just still like when we grow up, we're just like, we just say, should have just not resisted, right? And a lot of people like avoid the race topic and all that stuff, right? And it is really relevant in our lives, right? I thought literally, and this is like in all my heart, that if I did not pull out that camera and start recording yesterday, like, I don't know where I'd be right now, right? Like, you never know what the fuck would happen. Like, I was like, you don't see it, but it was like, I was like literally fighting for my life. Like, that's how I take it, right? Like, they don't fuck around. I'm not fucking around. Like, I can't just like let them be fucking harass me like that, right? Just, they were harassing like the whole vibe yesterday, right? So I get into the parking lot, right? I'm like, there's some deers in the fucking, just right in the parking lot, right? I remember taking a video of it. I just remember one of the rangers, right? She was like, harassing everybody. Like, she was like, yo, fucking, this is the pictures, so you can't take this type of pictures or whatever, and don't step on the grass. And I'm like, damn, these people are like fucking on one, So what I do is, like, I just start going off on my own. I found a seat, and I was just sitting there, right, doing my thing. Shot a couple videos on my way, like you'll see that you've seen before this video, right? And then some family comes out and says, hey, we're taking pictures here. I didn't really mind, like, it was my first time. It's probably their first time. They gotta take pictures and stuff. I'm taking videos, whatever. The whole family comes out there, and the ranger comes up to them, and we're like, hey, you can't get on the grass and shit, right? And I'm gonna give you a ticket. Give me your information. And it's like they're giving her a ticket for being on the grass or taking pictures of her family and shit. I just thought that was weird. I left while she was like waiting on the paperwork with her with the state or some shit. I don't know. I go back like somewhere on another bench. She passes by me. She hits the gas and was like, she hits the brakes. I just hear, and she turns around and was like, I smell weed, marijuana. It's legal to smoke weed in the park. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And fucking, she leaves, and I shoot a couple more videos, I think. I get to my car, I shoot in the parking lot. I get to whatever, and I get harassed, right? I just the whole topic that I'm trying to like bring out, right? With all this stuff, Nietzsche, Kant, Plato's Meno, is that we don't value things, right? Like, we don't value the right stuff in society, right? And what Nietzsche does, right, is, I'm gonna say it very simply so we could all like kind of understand, right? So we could all, there's a lot of trivial things when I talk philosophy, because I could have said something and meant another thing. But when I mess up, right, it's like you as an audience have an opportunity to look at what I'm saying, right, and correct me in your mental mind state, right? And what's going on is it takes certain kind of value, right? And I know I said that, Nietzsche didn't teach us value. I'm not saying that I'm, like, in a way, I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm not teaching you value. I'm explaining how it works in a way, and you kind of like got to get it yourself, right? But it's like the way of my style is like a cherry picking, right? If I'm gonna cherry pick anything when I'm reading it, or if I'm taking a video or watching whatever, like to what I view as an audience and whatever intake of things, I value things differently, right? And we all value things differently, right? And we value a lot of trivial things, for sure. And I'm going to explain to you one of these things using what happened yesterday, right? So when we were growing up, again, back in grade school, we were taking these history classes. We were learning about tyrannical governments, were we not? I remember a lot about tyrannical governments, or just, at least the idea that our government is coming back to me. Like I said, it's resonating now more than ever, that our government, right, or there's tyrannical governments, right? It didn't say that our government was tyrannical, but it's mainly about other governments are tyrannical, but as a citizen, you should vote is one thing, right? Among one thing we should vote, among the other things, like we should assemble or whatever. It doesn't even say anything besides really vote, right? We got to stay within the system and vote. But it doesn't. But does that not include that we assemble and work on our government, perhaps by changing it, right? Saying that our government is fucking. It's not really our government. It's a fucking. Sometimes it's like a zombie, right? It has no fucking mind and just runs, right? So, just to even go further, right? Like this is like, and then I'll talk about the value, okay? So, this is a really huge topic, right? And this is I'm thinking outside the box, not necessarily outside the box. I'm thinking inside the box, right? One of the things I've always said in my mind is that people like to think outside the box, but people don't like to think inside the box, okay? And this is like really important for us to think, because then we could change. We don't value the box, right? We value some type of thought that is not, that's kind of like Kantian, right? It's subjective thought, but we don't value the physical being because our thoughts are so strong, right? I want to say that yesterday when I was getting harassed, I was thinking like fucking, when I think about it now, right, it's like I have a lot of resentment, right? Reliving that pain. I relive the pain that I get harassed, and I know like I don't deserve to get harassed in my fucking heart, right? And it hurts, like it really fucks with me, right? It fucked with my head, yo. It made this video better. This segment, right? But it fucks with my head. And I got this resentment, right? And the government is the same way, right? We always have this resentment on the government, and we always forgive them, and we become patriotic, and then we forgive, and then we're like, oh my God, the government, I hate them so much. And then it happens again and again and again. And this is called resentment. And the etymological term, right? Etymology is the way the words come from, right? Re, which is sentir, which is pain. Ressentir is like reliving the pain, like repain, pain again, right? We as Americans, when we hear resentment, we kind of like tie it with revenge and hate. But I'm just saying that I could take away the hate, right, and the vengefulness or whatever. And I'm just saying that I'm living this pain again and again and again, right? Resentment, right? I'm full of resentment. We all are, okay? Okay, so one more thing before I finish up this video and explain a little bit about Mino. I'm gonna do the value real quick, and then I'll do Mino, okay? Is something like, how do we think inside the box, right? How do we think inside the box? Let's say that we live in a world where it says we got to separate the church and state, right? And then this is like this audience here, right, that I'm speaking to, like they don't want to hear this shit. They dismiss this shit, right? But it's really important for the whole audience to fucking understand what I'm saying, right? And when people want to criticize religion or understand anything about religion, like you got to really pay attention, right? If you really cared about the world this much, okay? The separation of church and state, right? What is going on, okay? We live in an education system where all the things that we should be fucking learning about, the fucking electoral college in the United States of America, fucking what a tyrannical government is, the fucking dinosaurs, like this is like really big thing, right? This is why I went out to nature when I started this video, right, is to see where we value things, right? Do we value this universe? Do we value, what do we really fucking value, right? I'm talking about just the fucking trees and the goddamn rocks. It's just a fucking rock, right? But why do I put so much fucking value in it? How old is this shit? What could it fucking tell me? What does it do for me, right? And then I said that we get fucking caught up in this, we get raptured, right? We get into some type of aesthetic rapture where customs and traditions are wrapped up with the rapture and the phenomena, right? So all of a sudden, we go to high school, finish high school, graduate, and we go to work, right? Now, when it comes to the separation of church and state, why do we not, we have a separation of church and state, right? So we don't talk about religion in school, right? This is fucking very important. We don't talk about religion in fucking school. This is fucking, like, it's insanity, right? That could be the most important thing, your fucking goddamn soul and your spirit, right? I know this sounds crazy to people, right? I'm sounding like a religious lunatic, but the religion is not in our schools, right? But when we leave the schools, what do we have, right? Everyone's going to church, right? Everyone believes that this God here is the dominant God in America, right? Do we not? Okay, but what is that separation of church and state leave us with in school, right? It leaves us with Christianity, and that's just like, okay, let's just talk about it, okay? Now, before Jesus was even born, right? Hundreds of years before Jesus was born, there was fucking Plato, Socrates, okay? Plato and fucking Socrates. They wrote a book called Plato's Meno, okay? And if, not only that, okay, you got stuff like Tao Te Ching in China, right? You got the Confucius Analects. You got like other stuff that people, all the stuff in the Hindi religion, all this other stuff that I'm not mentioning, right? That's all the fucking, those are all the religions of the world, in a way. Zoroastrian, all those are religions, right? What did they say about how we should treat the world, right? How we exist in the world, okay? I'm gonna look at one of them, right? I'm gonna give you value. We're gonna place our value on Plato's Meno, okay? And what he says in Plato's Meno, he says that life is an eternal rebirth, okay? Life is an eternal rebirth. That, let's just think about that short term, okay? Life is eternal rebirth, okay? Okay, so I said life is an eternal rebirth, right? What I'm gonna say is also gonna be insane. Let's just take life as an eternal rebirth, right? 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot alive, or some shit like that. Let's just take that as our soul, right? Rather than our soul being born, dies and goes to heaven. We just say that life is an eternal rebirth. The soul here, the soul, there are souls on earth, okay? The soul stays on earth, right? You die, whatever you can say. Aristotle says your honor still lingers around, right? Politically, I can still talk about you, and that's kind of like your soul, right? Rest in peace to my dad. But what I want to say is, like, when we say that life is eternal rebirth, he means a fucking eternity, right? An eternal itself already. When you get more into philosophy, you understand that we cannot grasp eternity. We can kind of understand it, right? But let's just try to understand it. I'm not saying you can grasp it. Let's just try to understand it, right? Eternity is a long time. It's more time than what we have now, obviously, right? Eternity is a long ass time. What are we gonna do for eternity instead of like going to heaven? What are we gonna fucking do? Tell me, right? Coincidentally, okay, hundreds of years before Jesus Christ, Plato wrote Plato's Meno, right? And 300 years before that, 4, maybe 500 years before Jesus, I don't remember, like 400 BC, right? 398 is when Socrates died, I believe. So he wrote Plato's Meno just a couple years after that, okay? So 300 and something, right? 350. So this is a text, right? And it introduces to me what I value, what I understand, right? Plato's Meno is the best, not the best, I'm sorry. It's the first valuable text, right? Like, it should carry weight when we talk about morality, because it's where we came from a long time ago, right? About what is good, what is bad, right? He's talking to Socrates, is talking to all these people in Athens about what is good and what is bad, right? 380 years before Jesus Christ, right? But later, Jesus comes, whatever happens in the empire. What's good is the 10 Commandments, right? There's no discussion of it, right? Okay, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up now. Just give me a second. So if we value different things, right, that align to a certain kind of I can't even, like, in this society, if I were to say spirituality, people are like, they dismiss it, right? They dismiss it because they're fucking indoctrinated, right? But I'm saying, okay, let's just, if you could, for a second, at the cost of your fucking soul, which is a lot, could you just put it to the side and say that we live in an eternal birth, right? We live it again and again and again, okay? What are we gonna do, okay? And this is like, in the early days, we're gonna say, hey, perhaps we should do something fucking good, right? And what is the good, okay? That is the question. What is the good? And what is the bad, I guess, you know? Like, we value, when we shift the value, okay, of what is good to, let's just say, what's good for us to know. What if we as seniors in our high school, right? This is something that's pretty consistent around the whole world, seniors in high school. What if we were to write essays on how to fuck the government, right? Instead, when we were like in fucking 5th grade, right? Instead of when we were in 4th grade, how to make the government better, right? How do we fucking, when do we learn it? We learn it when we're little kids. But what do we learn as in high schools? We learn about all this fucking getting prepared for college, fucking business bullshit. What about our fucking soul, right? Who gives a fuck about our soul, right? Don't fucking teach the soul in our fucking schools that we're gonna be fucking here forever and we don't know how to fucking act. All right. So I think that's enough for me to say that we're gonna go through Plato's Meno next video, okay? And I'm gonna try to do it, and we'll see how it goes. But please pay attention to all the videos. Watch it a couple times for sure, because I watch them all a couple times just so I get it, yo. Like, philosophy is rare. And I hope you see how rare that you get. Like what kind of person I am in philosophy. I am definitely the best Nietzsche that I could really think of, like really the most valuable, right? I am teaching the philosophy of value, or just helping or giving something about value, where if you could make value out of it, then cool, okay? But definitely all the other philosophers, right, that have went past Nietzsche overlooked something about value, okay? And I am doing something very unique in academia, in a way, okay?